Today we will discuss about the clinical based question of the facial nerve. A patient came to OPD have a right side of the face dropping of eyelid as well as unable to close the right eye. Loss of facial expression and nasolabial fold, but the muscles of the forehead which is intact and not paralyzed. Write the name of nerve paralysis. How to differentiate the upper motor neuron disease and lower motor neuron disease, and explain the course and branches of the nerve. The muscle of the face is supplied by the facial nerve, so the paralysis of this nerve lead to the facial palsy. In this case, there is upper motor neuron disease. The muscle of the forehead, it is not paralyzed, it is intact, because it supplies by the dual nerve supply like right and left facial nerves. So the paralysis occur on the right side indicate that supranuclear lesion of the facial nerve on the left sides. So in upper motor neuron disease, lesion is in opposite side. So here the right side of the face which is paralyzed, so it indicate that there is a paralysis on the left side, supranuclear lesion on the left sides. While into the lower motor neuron disease, lesion is ipsilateral, same side, with the paralysis of the muscles of the face along with paralysis of the muscles of the forehead of the same sides. It is the ipsilateral. Here you can see this is a loss of this is a lower motor neuron disease, because the loss of forehead and brow moment, it indicates that it is a lower motor neuron disease. If this part which is remain intact, then you can consider as a upper motor neuron disease. But in this case, this is a lower motor neuron disease. Inability to close the eye, drooping of the eyelids, and loss of nasolabial fold and drooping of the lower lips. So here you can see this is a Bell's palsy. It means there is a lower motor neuron disease, and here you can see this is a nucleus which lies inside the pons, and the always lower motor neuron disease, it is a infranuclear. So lesion on the here it is the right side of the facial nerve which is paralysis. So the right side of the face which is completely paralysis. But into the supranuclear lesion, here this is a supranuclear lesion. Here the lesion which is inside the cerebrum or anywhere else above to the nucleus, it means above to the pons, anywhere there is a lesion, it means indicate that. But the this part of the forehead which is has a dual nerve supply, it is on the from the opposite side as well as from the same sides. So if the lesion on the left side, but on the right side also the muscles of the forehead which is also supplied by the opposite side, so the double nerve supply inside the supranuclear lesion, so the forehead muscles which is remain intact, so only into the lower part which is paralysis inside the supranuclear lesion, while inside the infranuclear lesion hold the ipsilateral same side paralysis. Inside the supranuclear lesions there is opposite side of the face paralysis, but the upper part which is remain intact. Explain the course and branches of this nerve. Introduction. Seventh cranial nerve, it is a facial nerve. It is the supplies to the muscles of the derivative of the second branchial arch. It is the muscles of the face. It is the mixed nerve, contains the larger motor root and smaller sensory root. Sensory root, it is also called the nervus intermedius. It is a motor to the muscles of the face, secretomotor to the submandibular, sublingual and lacrimal gland, and gustatory to the anterior two-thirds of the tongue. The functional component of the facial nerve, it is the spatial visceral efferent. It means the derivative of the branchial arch. So the muscles of the face and elevations of the hard bone, which is muscles which is innervated by the facial nerve. General visceral efferent, it is means parasympathetic secretomotor to the submandibular gland, sublingual gland, lacrimal gland and gland of the nose, palate and pharynx. Spatial visceral efferent, it carries the taste sensations, it is called the gustatory from the anterior to third part of the tongue. General somatic efferent, which carries the sensation from the skin of the external ears. The nuclei of the facial nerve, it is a motor nucleus of the facial nerve, it is called the branchiomotor. Superior salivary nucleus, it is a parasympathetic nucleus. Lacrimatory nucleus, it is also parasympathetic. And nucleus of the tractus solitarius, it is a gustatory nucleus. The motor nucleus lies inside the lateral part of the pons near to the main sensory nucleus of the trigeminal nerve. It is an example of the neurobiotaxis for quicker reflex response. The superior salivary nucleus and lacrimatory nucleus lies inside the pons and provide a preganglionic parasympathetic fiber of the facial nerves. While the nucleus of the tractus solitarius is located into the upper part of the medulla oblongata, you have to remember. The course and relations, it consists of sensory and motor roots. The course, it is the intraneural part, it is the intraneural course, it is a motor root, passes dorsomedially and cranially behind to the abducent nerve nucleus. So this is a facial nucleus. The fiber of the facial nucleus goes medially and behind to the abducent nucleus, and then it winds around it and it is come to the anterolaterally and it is called the neurobiotaxis. So the intraneural course, the motor root passes dorsomedially, cranially behind to the abducent nerve nucleus and then bend ventrolaterally and downwards. Sensory root, it is composed of the taste fibers, proprioceptive fibers, secretomotor fibers. Both the root emerge at the junction of the pons and medulla. The intracranial or intrapetrous part, it is the intracranial course. The two root passes laterally, enter the internal acoustic meatus along with the 8th cranial nerve. In the meatus, the motor root lies in a groove on the 8th nerve with the sensory root intervening. At the bottom of the meatus, two roots join to form the single trunk, enter the facial canal by passing through the anterosuperior quadrant of the lavina cribrosa. Intrapetrous course, the nerve run into the facial canal. Here its course can be divided into the three parts by the two bands. First part, it is directed laterally above to the vestibules. Second part, it directed backwards over the promontory. Third part, it is directed vertically downwards behind to the promontory and pass through the stylomastoid foramens. So the first turn, it is the sharp and it contains the geniculate ganglion, it is called the sensory ganglion, and the second turn, it is a gradual and between the promontory and adductus to antrum. Here you can see this is the facial nerve which is enter inside the petrous part of the temporal bone. The extracranial part, the facial nerve, leaves the skull by passing out through the stylomastoid foramen between the styloid process and mastoid process. It is called the stylomastoid foramen. Then it crosses laterally the base of the styloid process, enter the parotid gland here and runs forward, crossing the retromandibular vein and external carotid artery. Finally, it divides into the two main roots, temporofacial and cervicofacial. Temporofacial trunk divide into the temporal and zygomatic branch, while the cervicofacial trunk divide into the buccal again divide into the upper buccal and lower buccal, marginal mandibular and cervical branches. These 5 branches radiate into the goose foot, and such branching pattern, it is called the S. pes anserinus. So this is the course and of the facial nerve. Branches and distributions of the facial nerve. The width in the facial canal, it gives the greater petrosal nerve joined with the deep petrosal nerve, and it forms the nerve to pterygoid canal. Relay into the pterygoid palatine ganglion and carries the parasympathetic fiber to the lacrimal glands and gland of the nose, palate and pharynx. Now to the stapedius, which supplies to the stapedius muscles, which lies inside the middle ear, and muscles dams down to the excessive vibrations. And if there is a paralysis of this nerve, it lead to the paralysis of these muscles, produce the hyperacusis. The third, it is the chorda tympani. It carries the parasympathetic fiber for submandibular and sublingual gland, and also taste fiber from the anterior 2/3 of the tongue. As it exits from the stylomastoid foramen, it gives the posterauricular supplies to the occipital belly of the occipitofrontalis, now to the digastric, posterior belly of digastric, and now to the stylohyoid muscles. And terminal branches are the temporal, zygomatic, buccal, marginal mandibular and cervical branches. So this is about to the clinical based question of the facial nerve. Hope you enjoy the lecture. Thank you very much.